This is a review for Unit 1-1 and 1-2. In this unit, we're talking about domain and range, writing an equation, finding the reasonableness of a domain range, whether it's continuous or discrete. So let's start here with this one. I would pause the video and come back and see if you got the right answer and if you know what to do. In this case, I have a domain. Domain is X. I always underline domain. I put X above it. The range is the Y. So I will go and I will draw a T-chart right here. I put X and Y. Since it's giving me my Y, I'm going to go ahead and put my numbers in this chart. Now, to go and find your answer, I'm going to use my calculator. Let me pull that up here. Oh, I need to turn off my pen real quick. All right. And you can do this by hand, but I have a video on how to do it by hand. I'm going to show the calculator because I have not done that on the videos yet. So we're going to go to y equals, and I'm going to put in there negative. 1/3 is 1 divide 3, then x, and minus 7. Now I'm going to press second graph. I'm looking to see where x is negative 9. I'm not, sorry, not x, y is negative 9. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Let's go up here. There it is. Y is negative 9. X is 6. So I'll go on my table right here and I'll put a 6. Let me pull the calculator back up. It wants to know when y is 0. Now, if you try and go up in the y column, you're not going to be able to. You have to go over in the x column. So I'm going to go up and go find where y is 0. There it is. Let's go move down. And I have negative 21. So I'll go back here. And I need to find when y is 5. So as I keep clicking, right here, let's see if I can go down. Right there, x is negative 36. So now as I'll write it, I'll write D for domain, and then you use those little squigglies, which is set notation. Negative 36, negative 21, and 6. Really doesn't matter what order you write them in as long as you have them all there. Okay, let's see here. Let's move this down. On this one, it says, what is the range? This time they're asking, what is the y when the x number are these numbers here? So I'm going to draw a table. X then y. X is negative 1, 0, and 1. So I'm going to go in the calculator. I'm going to go back to y equals. I'm going to press clear to clear it out. Now this says x to the 3rd power. So the x button is up here next to the alpha. To get the exponent, you have to press this arrow thing. It's called the caret key. So I'm going to press the caret key, and then whatever exponent I have. In this case, I have 3. In between two terms, this is a minus sign. It is not a negative, so you have to use the minus sign right here, and you put a 5. Then I'm going to press second graph. Let's see if I can get it. Graph. There we go. I need to know when x is negative 1. Now, you can hold the arrow key and keep clicking to get down there, or you could press second window. It says table start. Put in there where you want to go to. I want to go to negative 1. This only works for the x. Second graph. Well, there we go. I've got when it's negative 1, it's negative 6. When x is 0, it's negative 5. X is 1, it's negative 4. So I'm going to go in here and I've got negative 6, negative 5, and negative 4. So I'm going to write R equals, set notation, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4. Let's go to the next one. Right there, pause the video, and let's see if you can do this one. Okay, in this case, again, we've got what is the range, what is the y, when the domain are these numbers. So I'm going to go over here, x and y. I'm going to put negative 1, 5, and 10 in this little column. So I know which, in a little chart, so I know which column to look in. So I'm going to go on my calculator. I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to put in there 3x minus 6. And then I'm going to press second graph. I'm looking to see where x is negative 1. Well, right there it says negative 9. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put negative 9. Pull my calculator back up. When x is 5, I come down here. Whoop, there it is. Y is 9. So I'm going to go to 9. When x is 10. Oh, what happened? Because my pen was too close to my airliner. There we go. X is 10. Y is 24. So I'm going to write R equals, set notation, negative 9, 9, and 24. Okay, this time I've got what is the domain? What is the x when given this equation? Oh, I don't know why that line's there, but that's all right. When the range, when the y numbers are the following. So I'm going to build a table, put in there when the y numbers are negative 3, 0, and 6. So let's go in the calculator, go to y equals. Now in this case it says negative x, so I'm going to do the negative here. X, in between two terms is the minus sign, and 4. I'm going to press second graph. I'm looking to see where y is negative 3 first. There it is. The x number is negative 1. So I'm going to go over here and put negative 1. Now I need to know when the y is 0. When the y number is 0, there it is. My x number is negative 4. So let me come over here, negative 4. When the x number is 6, I'll keep going up here. There it is. The y number is negative 10. So now I'm going to have domain equals, set notation, negative 1, negative 4, negative 10. You could put it in the other order too. It doesn't really matter as long as you have them all listed. Next one. Pause the video, come back and see if you can find the answer. On this one, it says, predict how many pages after 4 hours. I'll go to where x is 4, see look, number of hours, and I need to go up to my trend line. Do not go to this point right here. You need to go to the trend line and go over. That is your answer, 20. The next one, after 10 hours, again, go to 10 hours. You have to go all the way up. Whoa, my line's crazy. To the trend line right there and over. The answer is 50. Next one, pause the video and come back and see how you did. On this one, it even says a hint to draw a trend line. A trend line is an average between all these points. It does not always have to go through 0, 0. Like for mine down here, it's going to be a little bit lower. I'm going to bring it up. A trend line is just an estimate. And so you need to be careful. Make sure your line is as straight as possible, and you want it to go all the way through your graph as much as possible. Now it says, how much time would it take Kirsten to read 50 pages? Number of pages read is down here, so I'm going to go to 50. I'm going to go up to my trend line and over. Well, it's somewhere in my trend line up here between 45 and 50. So my answer would be A, over 40 minutes. The next one, pause the video and see if you can come up with the right answers. Okay, when they ask you to describe the domain, you need to remember that domain is X. When we describe it, we need to do it in words and numbers. First off, in X, it is the time. So this is the time from. It starts here at 0, and my data goes all the way out here to 45. So we're going to write from 0 to 45 minutes. Now, the range, on the other hand, the range is the Y. It's going to go up and down. I have miles, so I'm going to have miles from, starts here at 0, and the data ends up here at about 4.5, from 0 to 4.5 miles. All right, the next thing says, how far did Larry drive in stage 1? Here's stage 1. Stage 1 is from 0, 0 to right here. How far did he drive? It's this distance right here. That would be 2 miles. How long did it take him to complete stage 2? Okay, well, let me erase some of this stuff over here on my graph to give me some more looks here. All right. Stage 2 is right here. It's a flat line. It says, how long did it take him to complete it? Well, he starts at 25 and ends at 30. Well, there's a 5-minute difference right there. Next, it says, what was he doing in stage 2? Okay, look, if he's not going anywhere but time is elapsing, he's resting, he's staying put, maybe he's just taking a break, but he's not going anywhere and time is going on. The next one, pause the video, come back and see how you do. In this one, what you want to see is that the number of days you're absent from school, the more days you're absent from school, what happens to your grade? It goes down. When the two quantities are going in opposite directions, one up, one down, this is going to be a negative correlation. This one, the number of members in your family, the more family members you have, the higher your grocery bill goes. When both of them go in the same direction, this is a positive correlation. Now, one way I like to explain this is that when you talk about, let me go to another page here. When you talk about multiplying, I know that when I multiply a positive times a positive, I get a positive. And also when I multiply a negative times a negative, oh, I didn't mean to do -1, crazy me. A negative times a negative, that's a positive. Well, it's the same thing. When both of your quantities go up or both of your quantities go down, it's going to be a positive correlation or association. Now, when I multiply and I have a positive times a negative, that gives me a negative. That's the same as when one goes up, one goes down. It is going to be a negative correlation. The only other one we have is when there's no correlation, when they don't go together. An example here would be if you're talking about hair color and the type of car you drive. You know, these two things don't have anything to do with each other. So whenever they don't have anything to do with each other, it's a no correlation. All right, here's the next one. Pause the video. Come back and see how you did. In this case, to solve, I'm going to draw my dotted line. You should have added 92 to each side. I'm going to get 17x equals 102. Divide by 17. And my answer is x equals, I believe it's 6. And I'm going to box my answer. Next one over here, draw my dotted line. I'm going to subtract 4 from each side. And I have -2 equals -10x. I'm going to divide by -10. And I have 1/5 equals x. You could also write it as x equals 0.2. Both of them would work. Okay, on the next one, we're solving for p. We're solving for this letter right here. We want to get it by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 6s to each side. I get 3p equals, I cannot put these together because those letters are not the same. So I'll keep them separate. And now I'm going to divide by 3. Well, so now I get, let's see if I can move this down just a tad. These cancel and I get p equals 4y plus 2s. That is all they want you to do. The next one. Okay, pause the video and come back and see how you do. Okay, let's see. In this one, I'm going to get some boxes here. Okay. Pardon me while I get some colored boxes here. That's going to help us. I need 4 of them. Now, domain and range. I know that domain is my x. Oop. Let's see here. Domain is my x. Range is my y. But this right here, I want to take these boxes right now and I want to kind of enclose in my shape so I kind of see, I'm only looking at the function itself that's drawn and not all these other numbers. This is just a tool to try and help people find the domain and range. Okay, let's see. I might have to make these a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, domain is the X. You're going to put X in here, and I'm going to put my arrows to the left. X goes left to right. The leftmost point, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the way right here, it goes all the way over to -6. And then it goes all the way over to +3. Now, because it has a closed-in dot, that's when I use an equal to. This has an open circle, so you do not. On the next one, on the range is Y. I'm still going to point my arrows. Range goes up and down. Well, the lowest that it goes down here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down here, -5. And it goes all the way up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up here at 6. Well, there's a closed-in dot down here. That means equal to, so I'll draw a line. This dot up here, the topmost part is on the line, so it means it's equal to, and there's your answer. Because Y is between -5 and 6. Okay, pause the video, come back and see how you do. In this case right here, let's say let's do this, I've got $58 for an auto part plus $65 per hour. My dependent variable should be the total cost. Remember, because that's the Y. Independent variable is the X. That's what we're going to be looking at right here with the per. This is going to be the number of hours. My equation is going to be Y equals 65x plus 58. You could also write it Y equals 58 plus 65x. It means the same thing. Right here it says, what is the coefficient? Coefficient is always a number in front of x. It is 65. And what does it mean? It means the charge per hour. The constant's going to be the thing that's by itself, that doesn't have a variable with it. That's 58. This is the cost of the auto part. Okay, let's try the next one. There's the next one. Pause the video, come back and see how you do. In this case, I've got $5 to enter and $1.50 for each additional hour. My dependent variable is going to be a total charge. Dependent is always going to be total something because it's the end result. Remember, that's your Y. My independent is my X. Right here, I'm going to take $1.50 times X. X is your number of hours. My equation, Y equals $1.50x plus 5. Again, or you could write it Y equals 5 plus $1.50x. The coefficient is the number in front of the variable. It's $1.50. This is the cost per hour. The constant is the thing that's by itself. It doesn't have to be at the front of the, it doesn't have to just be at the back. See, right here, it could be at the front. Right here, the $5 is the cost to enter the parking lot. Cost to enter. A lot of times it's an initial charge. Okay. Try the next one, a little bit more involved on this one. Come back and see how you did. This one, they wanted you to write an equation. It says that the ship is 500 miles from Mrs. Crawford's private island. The ship is moving 15 miles per hour towards it. So I'm going to have Y equals 500 minus 15x. You could write Y equals negative 15x plus 500. Right here, the coefficient, That's the number in front of x. So it is negative 15. What does that mean? It is the number of miles that the ship is traveling. Ship is traveling per hour. Next, I have the constant. The constant is 500. That 500, that's how far away the island is. How far the island is. Okay, the independent quantity. Independent is the x. The x is right here. This is going to be the number of hours. Dependent is the y. This is going to be the total miles. Now, down here it wants to know what's the domain and what's the range. Really, I should have this in another order. I should look and see first of it, is it continuous or discrete? Remember, discrete starts with a D. It's just going to be dots. This is when you have whole numbers, when you can't have like 0.99999 of something. Continuous means that you can have fractions, decimals, all numbers. In this case, it's going to be continuous. Why is it continuous? Because we deal with time. Because it deals with time. Because you cannot just go in time to 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. Your time is going to continue on like 1.5 hours, 1.56, and so on. Now my domain, if I go here, I'm going to put in the calculator, go to y equals, put in there 500 minus 15x. Let's go to second graph. Let's start where x is 0. I have to start where x is 0 because I can't have negative time. So my domain has to start at 0. And when do they reach the island? When you keep looking in the island, you're going to look where the y number is 0. So if I keep going, it's going to be quite a few here. All right. Right here, you see how there's not really a 0? It goes from 5 to negative 10. That means I'm going to get to the island between 33 and 34 hours. Okay? So my domain would actually be from 0. You could argue to about 33.5 or almost 34. So right here, let's see here. It's time from 0 to 34 hours. My range is my y. I started at 500 and I go to 0. So my range, because at 0, what's 0? 0 is when you get the ground. Or you hit the island, sorry, miles from 0 to 500. Okay, the next one. Oh, here we go, right there, pause the video, come back and see how you do. In this case, they're going to charge $1.50 per day and a $6 maintenance fee. Y equals $1.50 x plus 6. Remember, you can use any variable. It doesn't have to be x or y. The constant. What number is a constant? The constant is the 6. It is the maintenance fee. The coefficient, that's the number in front of the x. That's the $1.50. That is the charge per day. Okay, so I guess I got these in these crazy orders again. The dependent quantity, dependent is the y. What does this y mean? This is going to be total charge. Independent quantity is the x. The x right here is going to be the number of days. Now, first off, to talk about if it's continuous or discrete. Right here, discrete means it's dots and you have to have whole numbers. Well, continuous means I can have fractions. We're talking about, let's see, where's my line here? We're talking about number of days. Can you be charged for a video for half a day? No. It has to be discrete because you are going to pay, my pen's going crazy, you will pay for whole number of days. The domain, if I go into my calculator right here and I put in there $1.50 x plus 6, second graph. My domain, oops, let's go back here to 0. I have to start at 0. I can't start at negative because my x numbers, what did we say the independent was? Number of days. I can't have negative number of days. So I have 0, and you know, you're not going to keep, after a while, when you keep something, they will just charge you a certain fee. So you're going to write from 0 to a, well, let's see. Let me write it like this. My domain, let's do it like this here. My domain, I've got, you could do 0, 1, 2, to a reasonable number. My range, let's see, range equals, the smallest amount just to have a Netflix account would be $6, and then you would pay $1.50 each movie, so it would be sorry guys, it's going crazy, $7.50, $9, and again, you'd write a reasonable amount. Okay? Alright, let's try, I think this is, yep, I keep flipping around. This is the last one. Let's go and try this one. Oh, I need to erase that. Pause the video and see how you do. Okay, so I'm trying to rearrange mine real quick so that I can make it a little bit easier for us. I should have done this originally, huh? Oh well, you live and you learn. Okay, here we go. First off, I'm talking about a phone call that is $5 to connect and 50 cents for each minute. So I have y equals 5 plus 50 cents x. The constant, remember that I said that the constant is the charge right here. It's by itself. That's the 5. This is the cost to connect, the initial fee. The coefficient is the 50 cents. This is the cost per minute. The dependent quantity, remember the dependent is the y. The y is going to be my total cost. My independent is my x. It is going to be my number of minutes. Now, is this continuous or discrete? Well, you know, each minute, this one's a tough one because it talks about time. And actually, technically, you could argue this one because time, they'll round it up and you'll pay for either 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it'll be a certain charge. But technically, you continue to talk. So I'm going to go with, on this one, I'm going to go that this one is discrete. But if you told me continuous, and you could tell me, justify it, I would understand. Why is it discrete? Because you pay for whole minutes. Now, what is the domain and the range? Well, first off, domain, when we start here, D equals, okay, let's see if I can get my pen going here. Yeah, I can't find my marker thing. So my domain, it starts at 0 because number of minutes, you could have 0, 1, 2, to a reasonable number. My range, the smallest amount you would have if you talked for 0 minutes If you put in the calculator and you have zeros, 5, 5, and then it'd be $5.50 for the first minute, $6, up to a reasonable amount.
Parking lot where the band practices, please remove your vehicle. You need to remove your vehicle from
And
the lot. Also,
so now, this would be the end of this review for this unit.